Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. um so first of all, I want to apologize for being slightly late. I woke up a lot earlier than I expected, and I don't know if you guys can hear. First of all, can you guys hear me? I mean, I'm assuming you guys can hear me. Yeah. You can hear me. I know that I got on here and there are all these comments already. Oh yeah, thank you, Maya Chamberlain. Thank you, Maya. Maya Chamberlain. Wait, it's glitching? Is it glitching on everyone's end or is it just your end? There's only one person saying it's. Oh, it's a little crackly. The sound is a bit distorted. Okay. Let me see if I can do something about that. Alright, I don't know if this is gonna work, but let me know if this sounds slightly better. Okay, guys, does it sound better now? No. Does it sound better? Is this better? Is it worse? What you mean? I'm British. How dare you? Okay, it's okay. First of all, don't come for me. I'm from Britannia, and it's literally racist for you to like attack my accent. It's regional. So you know. Don't be ignorant. That's all I'm saying, okay? That's all I'm fucking saying. Oh my goodness. Okay, so first of all, like I was saying, I'm sorry I'm late. I woke up. I woke up a bit late, and then I had to get. I was working on one of my scripts. I also don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm actually doing this live from my partner's apartment. So I don't know if that changes the sound at all. I'm going to try to film some videos here today, and I'm already thinking about how the sound is going to be different. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out with a pencil and a pad. We'll figure it out. Okay, so let's recap because I'm kind of nervous about the calls we're going to get today. I'm like slightly nervous. So yeah, I don't. Oh wait. This is what I'm waiting for. What in the Ollie London? Don't even. Okay, so let's do a recap because I am really nervous about the calls for this show. So. If you guys did not listen to the podcast episode, first of all, what the fuck are you doing? It's racist and transphobic not to listen to my podcast. Just letting you know in case you're working on that. But yeah, last week's episode was about whiteness in BDSM media and tokenism. And in that episode, I told a story about this very popular Instagram rope page that I followed that almost exclusively posted images of them doing rope with thin white women. For context, this rope artist is non-binary, and that's important and will come up later. But long story short, they had a history of working almost exclusively with thin white women, and they recently did a shoot with a woman of color. And the woman of color involved in this definitely thought that they were having, connective, personal, intimate rope with the person who they were bottoming for. And what ended up happening is they took a bunch of photos and posted the photos onto the Instagram page. And in the caption of those pictures, they made a really big deal about their race, let's just say. And that's not something that the person signed on for. That's not something that she agreed to. That's not something that she actually wanted to be at the forefront. And in the process of her race being described by this rope artist actually managed to get it wrong, to describe them as a race that they were not. And so this was definitely, as you can imagine, a source of a lot of discourse on my social media page, because ultimately what ended up happening is that the woman who was in the photos wanted the pictures taken down. She didn't consent to being tokenized at all, especially not even as the wrong race. And then this rope artist made this accountability post talking about it. And the accountability post got some really interesting reactions. The accountability post described exactly what had happened, exactly what mistakes they'd made. And of course, a lot of the comments, predominantly from white people, predominantly from white women, were saying that this person had nothing to apologize for. There were quite a few people commenting who said that it was spineless for this person to make this apology. And almost every last one of these people who came in defense, in quotations, of this rope artist misgendered them. Pretty much all of them. And mind you, this is somebody's page where they've got they them is like the first fucking thing in their profile. They're very clear about their pronouns. They're very clear about, how they would like to be addressed. But a lot of people defending this rope artist were consistently referring to them with he, him pronouns. And I thought that was a really interesting thing, because for me, it really started this conversation about what kind of audience are you trying to cultivate, right? What kind of audience are you trying to cultivate? Because one of the things I talked about in the podcast is there are plenty of rope artists that I follow on Instagram who almost only exclusively work with white women, and occasionally an Asian woman, occasionally a very light-skinned mestiza woman. And, I know that that's what they do. I know that that is what their work is. I don't expect to see diversity in their rope, because rope is clearly and obviously something that they do exclusively with cis white women who are thin, right? But with this particular rope artist, diversity, representation, all of these, you know what? It's this air. I got to turn the air off. 1 second. All right. Wait. Oops. Do you guys, is it better now? Because I just turned off the air, and I think that's literally the only thing that changed. Wow. Okay. Well, it's cold enough in this apartment, so hopefully that's okay. Side note: this is going to be edited, so this little spiel I'm giving right now is not going to be part of the edit at all, because I'm going to just redo all of this. But long story short, I know some rope artists who diversity, leftist stuff, none of that shit's part of their platform. But this particular non-binary rope artist is somebody who very much includes that as part of their platform. And, I think it's a little interesting that when you look at their artwork, when you look at what they do, it's clearly the communication is that they clearly only do rope on white women, which of course is not, I'm sure, the impression they wanted to give. But as a viewer, as an audience member, that's what I get, which obviously feels like a contradiction because of the politics that they express. And so for me, it was really obvious with the audience that they had cultivated an audience of people who just wanted to see hot white women in rope. So them apologizing for their racism, them apologizing for their tokenizing, that's not as important. That's not as, that's not, as important to them. They just want to see hot white women in rope, right? And I thought that that was really interesting because I think it says a lot about, I think it says a lot about the audience that you cultivate when your audience is misgendering you and, you know, getting upset with you because of your politics, right? And so this led to some other conversations. This person made another post where they essentially said that they don't deliberately do rope on only white women. They just do rope with their partners who happen to all be white women. You know, and then there were people commenting under the post who were people of color who said, I've reached out to you for rope, or there was one person specifically who had actually done rope with this person, and of course they didn't get a response. They took photos and the photos weren't posted, you know, and there was just a lot of stuff that hinted towards what I think could be a preference, right? And you know, I think the thing that people often don't get is that these preferences, you know, these preferences don't happen in a vacuum. You know, oftentimes, you know, when you know, first of all, put it this way: as a Black woman, you know, looking online, looking at rope stuff, almost all of the models are white people. Almost all of the bottoms are cis white women, right? So I'm going to get the impression that rope probably isn't something for me, that rope probably isn't something that I'm going to be welcomed into. And in the podcast, I speak about my relationship with a specific rope artist who basically only wants to do rope on cis white women, but didn't want to actually vocalize that to me. I think a lot of people only learn how to do rope and only learn how to see rope on certain bodies. And so, of course, when you're not in that body, you're going to get the impression that this just isn't for you. And so I commented on this post saying, you know, your feed is exclusively one archetype of a person. Because one of the things they said is that people of color don't approach them, which of course wasn't true because of all the comments, but let's just say that it is. Well, when your profile makes it clear that you have a preference, why would these why would people other than cis white women approach you? Right? Like, why wouldn't it? You know, why wouldn't somebody assume that why would somebody assume that you're open to them when you've got dozens of models on your profile and they're all the same exact thing? And so here was my thing. If you've got preferences, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you only get turned on by cis white women doing rope with you, I think that is a-okay. What I don't personally want is that coupled with preachy politics, because you get this bullshit that we got with this particular person. Your audience is clearly resentful of even the idea that you would do rope with a person of color. Your audience doesn't want for you to even open yourself up to doing stuff with other people. And also your audience is misgendering you. Right? So I think what the problem that I have with a lot of this stuff is I just want for people to be honest about what they want and what they're interested in, what their preferences are, instead of doing this like endless, you know, I support diversity, I support this and this and that thing, but then they're not reflective of it. The work that they do is not reflective of it. And of course, this was a situation where this particular rope artist wanted to work with this woman of color so that they could seem more diverse in their feed, so that they could maybe stop getting so many comments about how they only work with white women. And like I said, the person who bottomed for this top was thinking that they were getting a real connection with the person, right? because rope for a lot of people is very, 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 very personal, right? They didn't consent to being their little token on their social media page, which is what this was. So yeah, that was basically what we're talking about. And so, like I said, I'm nervous about the calls on this one because I really don't want for people to call in with stuff that is not relevant. I know that this is a very specific conversation. And so I'm not expecting for people to, for most of my audience to be able to speak on this, but, I'd like to get a couple. And so I want to hear from certain people. So we're going to open up the lines right now. All right, so that's the line. If you would like to call, I can't pin this. Can't pin the comment at all. If there's a mod in the chat, I'd appreciate you pinning the phone number. But I want to hear from very specific people, okay? I want to hear from people who, first of all, I would love to hear from rope artists. I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do with the audio other than what I'm currently doing. We can do this, or we can do this. I don't know if that's different or not, but we can do this, or perhaps this. I don't know if that really changes. Wait, let me, 1 second. Let me pick on some of my settings here. Oh my God, I have this is a brand new piece of software and I don't know how to use it. What is going on? Okay, so we're going to, things should just be easy to do here. How do I find mic settings? Damn it. Dag nab. Okay. We're just, I'm not going to be able to figure it out right now. So we're just not going to fuck with it. That's unfortunately how it's going to have to be. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing I can do. So we'll just have to deal with this later. This, like I said a couple of times on this, we're using a beta app. And so there's a lot of stuff that's probably not fully working, but it'll probably be fixed in post anyway. Okay, so I would like for certain people to call in. I want for people who are BDSM. First of all, if you're a person of color, put it this way, if you're a person of color who has felt alienated by BDSM media, I would love to hear from you. Okay. If you are a person who is a BDSM practitioner who has felt a certain way about diversity in what you are practicing or what you're photographing and putting on social media, I would love to hear from you as well. If you're just a person who is consuming this content and has feelings and opinions about seeing a large array of people represented in BDSM, I would greatly appreciate that as well. I am frustrated that I can't pin anything in this chat. That's got to be one of the main pieces of feedback that I give because holy fucking shit. It's the same. So like one of the things I mentioned in my podcast is that the last person who I did rope with is somebody who you go to his page and you immediately see that he works with a large array of people with a bunch of different body types and things. Like it's really amazing that he's able to work with a bunch of different people. And I think because of that, let me see. Do you know if this will be on our account afterwards? Okay. Sorry, it's really hard to read the chat and talk at the same time. But Victoria is correct. It will be on my Patreon. I always upload the full call-ins on Patreon. I'm deliberately not mentioning this person's name because it doesn't matter, honestly. This is not a call-out post. It's a conversation. But yeah, this will go unlisted. In fact, let me see if I can get on my phone and do something about this. 1 second. I hate the fact that I have to do this on a fucking Apple thing. It's really annoying. No, it's just like there's like static. I don't think it's it could be. I guess that's really the only difference, but it could just be. I have my iPad. But let me know if you need anything. Okay. Yeah, I won't take an hour's time. Sorry, I had to walk away for a bit. Aaliyah, you're wrong, first and foremost. Apple fucking sucks, and I want them to go bankrupt, like yesterday. There's no one who's called in yet. That is so interesting. Well, I mean, like I said, I was worried about people calling in, but you can see the phone number on the video. It's 281-429-8469. But yeah. So everyone asking about the subject of this video. Well, first of all, if we don't get any calls, I'm fine with just not having a call-in show. That's fine too. But if you are confused by the subject, listen to my podcast. To me, it's like I want to have general conversations about, ooh, let's see if we can do it. I can pin it. Oh, wait, let me see. I think I can pin. Here we go. Can I pin from my phone? Okay, here we did. We did. Okay. Bam. I'm talking about specifically BDSM media. Specifically Instagram and stuff, because BDSM social media is very white and can often feel unwelcoming to people of color. In fact, there's a whole organization of Black folks internationally that have organized around this issue called A Tribe Called Kink. They're an organization that anyone who is a person of color should check out if they're interested in, you know, finding other people who are Black who are in BDSM, because it's a real issue, because a lot of BDSM spaces are very white, and unfortunately, even in some of those spaces, you can run into some. I mean, well, obviously, if they're mostly white, you're gonna run into some fucking bullshit. I'll never forget one of the first dungeons I went to. I walked in on a race play scene. And it was very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna hold the phones open for a bit. I'm not getting any calls, and I could definitely just not have a call-in show for this, but because we don't have to. Melanated Princess, you keep asking questions about stuff. I appreciate those, but I have a whole video about race play. And if you would like to know my feelings about it. Oh, weird. It says that you're on hold. Interesting. Because I don't have anything showing me that there's calls. Interesting. How many people right now have called in but haven't been able to get through? Because I haven't really. Do you think you'll ever debate you? No, because it's pointless. I've talked about that several times. Made a whole video about that. You can watch it. You're on hold too. Okay, weird. Okay, because I'm not seeing anything on my end. Let me close and reopen. Yeah, it still says it's waiting. That is so weird. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to make a new live. Here, let's private this right now. Or unlist it. We'll unlist it. I'm not going to repeat the premise, though. We're just not going to. If you're on hold now, I'm going to say this might be bad advice, but stay on hold if this doesn't end. Because right now on this side, I don't see any calls that have come through. So let me just redo this and we'll come right back. Okay.